Take 20. Take 20. Hello, welcome to the other side of Georgia with your host ASOS. Listen, this is not my vibe. This is not my energy. This is not even like my original space that I normally work in. And I've been like a mess. Listen, I have not gotten a video out in so long. I was like, 2023. Like everybody, like we're always like, it's going to be our year and it's not. And then look, I have like all these freaking pimples like all over my freaking face. And it's just absolutely disgusting. My face looks disgusting. This lighting's disgusting. But I'm determined to get a video out. I've been so busy. Ladies, my man decided to move my entire life when I'm busy, and he keeps wondering why I'm not happy with the situation. I'm like, dude, you're bothering me when I'm so busy. I'm tired. I've been traveling. I was supposed to record this in Georgia when I was in Georgia, because like that was the whole reason why I was gonna like skip doing like the proper tour that I was doing, because I was traveling and I was in Georgia. And like honestly, like I wasn't expecting to be jet lagged. Like I've never been jet lagged in my entire life, but when I was in Georgia, I was like, I got hit like a train, that time change, because I'm in Texas and I'm not in Texas where we're in central time. I'm in mountain time. So going from mountain time to basically East Coast time was like it was a nightmare. I just could not process, excuse me, what time it was at all. So I've been jet lagged, I've been tired, I've been busy at work, unfortunately, because you have to work to make a living around here. It's god awful. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. So enough about my sob story about my life and like how I've been going through it these past, God, I don't even know how many weeks. I've been going through it, but girly, I am determined to get a video out and I'm determined to make this work. And honestly, if I record this and I find out that it's god awful, I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, I tried. So let's get into Georgia. Let's get into not my life. Let's talk about this so I can go to bed, because I'm recording this at like 1 in the morning and I'm like falling. I don't know if you can see the back. I'm falling asleep. So this is a southern state, and its capital is of course Atlanta, which I was in, and I'm gonna share you all my pictures from Atlanta. Please, when you go there, just experience its culture and its history, because I was like amazed. I was also tired, but I was amazed. Georgia is home to the invention of the Cherokee written alphabet. If you did not know, now you know. Historical facts about Georgia: it is the fourth state to join the Union in 1776. It was the fifth to join the Confederacy in 1861. Georgia is one of the states that was part of the Trail of Tears. It forcibly removed its tribes from their home to travel to Oklahoma on foot, horse, steamboat, on wagon from 1838 to 1839. The Trail of Tears was one of the worst acts in American history, and I really pray to God that one day it gets counted as genocide, because these people were literally forced out of their homes to walk barefooted, because most indigenous people don't wear shoes. They were forced to walk in horrible conditions. They were often so mistreated on these trails. So please, if you have a chance to, go to these places and try to find where the Trail of Tears were, because you also have to remember, like, it's basically been erased from history. And a lot of times they've built over where the original trail was. Please pay your respect to all these tribes who lost their lives and who were uprooted from their homes. Absolute tragedy. So let's get into the other side of Georgia and all of its spooky kookiness, because this is an old state. I'm not trying to be mean to you, Georgia, but like, you're an old state, okay? You were there. You were part of the original 13. You were there when the country first started. You've been through the ringer. You got a lot of history in you, from not just from like the 13 original colonies, but Georgia also has history in the Civil War. It has history in the Civil Rights Movement. It has tribal history. I mean, I could talk about Georgia's history all day long, but I'm here to talk about spooky kooky ookiness. So let's get into the spooky ooky kookiness so I can go to bed, because I'm feeling spooky ooky and kooky. Amen. Windsor Hotel. Hotels creep me out, okay? Like, creep me out. So it is in America. I heard that people in Georgia say things really funny, so I'm probably butchering all these town names or city names, and people are gonna hate me. But you know what? It's 1 a.m. Sue me. Just don't actually sue me. I'm very poor and I make below the poverty line, so don't do that. But like, you know what I mean. It opened in 1892. It was built to attract the snowbirds. It's a 100-room Victorian building that hosts the like of Al Capone, President Jimmy Carter. While the Windsor does not need paranormal to be considered historic, visitors are attracted to it for, of course, its otherworld experiences. One of the ghosts that is spotted often is the daughter of a former housekeeper who is rumored to be pushed down the elevator shaft. If I need to explain to you more times of why I hate elevators, I'm going to run out of breath. Just know this is a good example of why I don't like elevators. Another reported ghost is Floyd Lawyer, a longtime doorman who haunts the hallways. If I can't talk through this video, I am gonna hate myself. Cause, woo! Historical Oakland Cemetery is our next location. It is in Atlanta. It was built in 1852 to accommodate crowding in other areas. It is where notable individuals found their final resting place, such as Margaret Mitchell, Maynard Jackson, and Bobby Jones. The man of the great locomotive chase was hanged on the outskirts of the cemetery and laid to rest there. There are Civil War soldiers buried there as well. There are tours that are hosted yearly, but of course, that magical sweet spot is obviously in October. I mean, of course. Next location is also in Atlanta. It's the Fox Theater. It was built in 1929 as a Moonrise-inspired movie place, with today hosting performances from concerts to play. Excuse me. There was plans to demolish it in 1970. I'm so sorry, but has been able to still stand today and serving millions per year. There are ghost tours in October. Some apparitions of men and women have been sighted throughout the years, dressed in Victorian period attire. The ghost is the Fox. One ghost is the Fox manager girlfriend who died leaving the elevator. And the elevator has now been just having a mind of its own. It goes from the first floor, fourth floor. It just starts acting all freaking crazy thanks to this horrible death. So this notable ghost, Roosevelt, who worked in the boiler room for decades, there is no reports on what happened to him or why he haunts it or what's going on with him. I was like looking everywhere. I was like, who is Roosevelt? Because they'll be like, Roosevelt is like one of the most famous ghosts, and this is him, and that's it. And I'm like, well, what else about Roosevelt? But I saw nothing, so tomato, tomato. Next location. The next location is the Ellis Hotel in Atlanta. I think we have a few more places in Atlanta, and then I'll stop talking about Atlanta. Yeah, we have two more. It's formerly the Weinkauf Hotel, built in 1913 as a fireproof hotel. So keep that in mind, okay? Think about that now. Keep that in your brain. It was a fireproof hotel. However, in 1948, with over 300 guests, the hotel caught on fire, and 119 people died. The firefighters were only able to get to 8 of the 15 stories. There are images of people jumping from the windows. Flashbacks, many people. The hotel's namesake, Frank Weinkauf, was among those who were dead. The building reopened in 1950 as a retirement home, and it finally became the Ellis Hotel in 1990, with the current guests reporting the smell of smoke and fire alarms going off at the exact time the original fire happened. So there's just so much tragedy in this building, and they keep renovating and keep building it over and over again, and it's sad. And I just wish that they would let it die, because at this point, after that fire, I don't even know. Water break. I'm going like 100 miles per hour. All right. Rhodes Hall, Atlanta, Georgia, known as Castle on Peachtree. It's one of the oldest mansions in Atlanta. It was built in 1904 by staunch supporters of the South. It reminds the city of its dark past. The house remains untouched by time, with the original owners rumored to lurk behind the castle-like mansion. Now, there is a mural in this house, okay? The original owners made sure to have this mural in this home. It features a portrait of a KK member. Now, I'm not going to say its name because evil has no place to have a name, but just know that there is a mural in this house like that. And I think that that is horrible because here in El Paso we have a high school that used to be the headquarters for the KKK here in El Paso, and it's very much like nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to look at it. Like, that is a horrible part of history. It's history, nonetheless, and we should talk about it to prevent it, but is a horrible history. Horrible, horrible, horrible. In 1927, the original owner, Amanda, died, and a year later, her husband died. The deed went to the children. The children gave it to the state of Georgia, which I think was a mistake on the children's part, but whatever. Some of the spirits lurk still despite all of this, and they have caused people to run out. Now, one of the tour guides, okay, listen to this tour guide. She's like, okay, everybody left, everybody's good, the last tour happened, I'm ready to go home, I'm ready to go see my cat. So she's closing up the place, she's all good to go, ready to go, and she starts hearing footsteps, and she goes, okay, let's go see what's happening. Let's go check on it. And as she's starting to investigate where the sound's coming from, she realizes that the footsteps are coming closer and closer to her. So she starts going, okay, weird. She calls out to who's there. Nothing. Okay, footsteps get closer, closer. A man screams at her to get out. Does this lady get out? Does this lady decide to check the cameras, call for backup? No. You know what this lady does? She calls out again for somebody to show themselves because she thinks it's a prank. And as she keeps trying to figure out who's there, okay, this lady is still determined to figure out who's there. The ghost completely screams at her to get out, and she actually sees the shadow of this man to get out. Girl, the first time was enough for me. You had to wait till the ghost was so pissed off and screaming to get the fuck out for you to get the fuck out? I don't know. One time when I got yelled at to get out of a building, I said, thank you. I'm going to respectfully take what you said and get out on my own free will. Point blank period. So if you want to go to Dalton, Georgia, I really don't have much details on Dalton, Georgia, but I would like to just say that it has connections to the Trail of Tears, Civil War. So it has a lot of that history there. So if you want to have like a historical moment, please go there. Pananal Hall in Eaton, Georgia. In 1891, Dr. Benjamin Hunt purchased Panola Hall, and he and his wife believed that Sylvia was the daughter of the first owner. Sylvia was the famous apparition that roams the halls of the mansion, with rumors that she fell down the stairs and jumped to her death after hearing her fiance ultimately died. So essentially, Sylvia haunts the place. She died because she wanted a lover. Her lover never came, so sad day. Kenosha, Georgia. Kenosha Mountain National Battlefield was one of the sites of the bloody Civil War battle in 1864, with over 4,000 men dying, mostly from the Union side. Today, the grounds are open for the public to hike and exhibit on the war. There is an eerie energy with reports of men in battle attire and smoking cannon. Smoke like coming from a cannon. Next location is Milledgeville, Georgia. The homestead was built in 1818 by Peter Jones William. The home is the center of social life, holding state officials, governors, congressmen, among others. The home belonged to the Williams family until 1960, and many believe the family never left. From the earliest days of the home's existence, reportings of sightings throughout the grounds. There is an old lady dressed in gray who walks the gardens of the home at sunset, a very specific type. The Williams family claimed that she was a banshee, a Welsh spirit that appears at the death of a family member. The last sighting of this woman was in the 50s when she was seen walking out of the homestead down to Memory Hill Cemetery, and she has never been seen before. There's such a long history of this home and tells of its paranormal side. Even more reports on like the banshee and like her ties to the home and to the family. So definitely check that place out. Creepy. Next location is Roswell, Georgia, which I think is so funny that they have a Roswell there. I love places that are just named everywhere, you know? It's like there's a million Salems, there's a million Roswells. Anyways, in 1990s, a woman bought the old Roswell Mill house and tried to start business. However, during renovations, they would return to find everything detached in water would return to find everything drenched in water and the changes destroyed. The owner concluded the place was haunted and hired a psychic medium to investigate, who expressed there are 5 women spirit in the home. One of the spirits is believed to express that the electricity being installed was a fire in the walls. Do you believe the owner, or do you think that more investigation should have been done to see the true cause of the destruction? So essentially, one of the 5 ghosts believed that the electricity that they were installing in the home was a fire, and that's why everything was drenched when they came back. Now, I think that they should have done more investigation personally to see what was actually going inside the home. But do you believe that it was fully paranormal, or do you think we need more investigation, more information, more scientific facts? You let me know. Bluchhol. I don't even believe that's how you say it. It's like Bluchhol. I got made fun of at work for not being able to pronounce things properly, okay? FYI. It has a well from the mid 1800s in the backyard where a young slave was floating in the well dead. When the little girl was alive, she was responsible for lighting the home. A frequent ghost does the same, flickering the lights and extinguishing candles. Listen, I forgot to mention I hate wells. The Ring still haunts me. So that sounds terrifying. Let's go to Savannah, Georgia. All right, Savannah, Georgia is our last place. The Marshall Hall. Oh my god, we had 18 minutes of this, girl. 18 minutes is not long enough for this podcast after I've been MIA for weeks. Gotta get this thing up to like 3rd year, so maybe I'll talk more at the end. The Marshall House, built in the mid 1800s to keep up with the rapid growth of Savannah. Oh, girl, what happened? Oh, okay. The Marshall House, built in the mid 1800s to keep up with the rapid growth of Savannah's population during the railroad boom. The Marshall House acted as a hospital multiple times during the yellow fever pandemic during the Civil War. There are reports of ghosts roaming the hall, faucets turning on and off with no explanation, and voices of children. Listen, if I heard voices of children, I'm out. The Hamilton Turner Inn. It was built in 1873 by Samuel Hamilton, with its features in the famous novel Midnight. In the Garden of Good Evil, Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton were known for their lavish parties and sparkling no expenses to have the house meet their needs. The inn is referred to as a mansion as it was the first to have electricity, with people gathering outside at night just to watch the lights turn in. Isn't that crazy to hear stories about things that we're so used to but others weren't, and you have to try to put yourself in their shoes, but it's just so mind-boggling to be like, what do you mean you're excited to see electricity? Electricity is a natural part of life. I mean, like, look at this, you know what I mean? Look at what's powering everything. Like, it's electricity. In 1898, it was the only home to survive the Savannah fire, credited to its tin roof. Speaking of the roof, here's the craziest story Stay with me, okay? Mr. Hamilton had soon turned his home into a private art museum and took extreme measures to protect his art. So he had a guard with a rifle posted on the roof. One morning, the guard did not come down and was found in a pool of blood. The guard was shot in the back of the head, and many wonder if he could be the cigar man seen on the roof today. The inn's long history reported paranormal activity such as hearing children laughing, billiard balls popping off, rolling across the floor, seeing a man with cigar smoke on the rooftop, and the sighting of Civil War soldiers walking the halls. Some guests will hear phantom knocks. It is reported the house was built on top of Confederate soldiers' graves. So apparently they went to go look for the bodyguard and he was dead, sadly and unfortunately. And there's just so much paranormal activity that happens in this house. So thank you so much for being patient with me. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you for watching this, whoever's watching this out there, the great ether. This was the other side of Georgia. Girl, I'm going to try my life together soon if people just stop throwing things at me. Oh my God, I'm going to go to Roswell at the end of the month. I'm so excited. So I might just even though I'll do another video, I'll probably just post videos of my Roswell trip and everything like that, and everything that I see in Roswell, because I'm so excited to go to Roswell at the end of the month. And then I'm going back to Dallas soon, which is a whole other thing. I was hoping to go to Fredericksburg, but my Fredericksburg trip got canceled. I'm super sad about that. But anyways, it was only 21 minutes, and it's probably gonna get cut down super short. So this video was short, and I'm sorry about it. But anyways, have a great night or day or whatever. Bye bye.